welcome to Turning Lewks, a beauty, cosmetics, and makeup podcast. I'm your host, Darren Mew, and this is episode 4. We've been doing this for about a quarter of a year already, and that feels wild to me. 4 episodes, a bonus episode. I'm hoping that you're all enjoying this podcast and really loving the content that we're putting out here. If there's anyone else you would like to see on the podcast, do let us know. And we'll see what we can do. So yes, episode 4 is going to be a really, really great one. I can't wait to get into the conversation with Triple Minor. It's going to be a really, really fabulous one. And that's a key word, fabulous, I think, for this episode. But before we do, let's get into some beauty news, shall we? Or we shall. The first one is a bit of a heated one, a bit of a sad one too. Recently, Maybelline came under fire for having a man with a beard in their latest campaign for their new lipsticks. Now, I find that incredibly frustrating. It was in 2017 that Maybelline had their first man in a campaign of theirs. It was Manny MUA in their, I think, mascara campaign. How are we going backwards in time? How are people finding it more atrocious about men wearing makeup now than we did back then? Or were people finding it just as bad then, but it wasn't being publicized as much? Was the media not pushing this negativity as much? Or what's happening in society? Are we regressing that far backwards in society that men shouldn't be wearing makeup again? What's happening here? Why is this now a news story? Why is this now a thing? Why are people boycotting Maybelline or saying that they're boycotting Maybelline for having men wearing makeup? That's been a thing for almost a decade now. Men have been wearing makeup online and in society for a long, long time, but publicly doing it and doing it in a way that it's a career for them for like over 10 years now. Why is it now such a big issue? Please, someone make that make sense to me, because it's not, and I'm not here for it. It's not okay. I'm glad that Maybelline has kind of stuck by what their campaign was and aren't backing down on it. But the fact that that's even a question that needs to be had. Don't know. This is what happens when the media, governments allow rampant transphobia and homophobia to take hold. This is what it is. It's, people see men wearing makeup as a form of femininity, as a form of queerness. Whether that's true or not, men wear makeup and can be straight too, straight and cis. That is a thing. Obviously we're seeing a lot in America where they're putting bans on drag bans and criminalizing gender expression, and we're seeing in the UK this like rampant transphobia. This is what happens. We're seeing companies like Innocent Smoothie, Target, Oxfam, who will put out pride products or pride campaigns and then get a backlash for it and then retreat. It's not what we do. In the face of transphobia and anti-queerness, we don't back down to the haters, especially when they're just online mainly creating a lot of noise. This is what happens when there are those things. We regress further and further backwards because people think they can get away with it. People can come online and create a social media stir about how up and all they are about men wearing makeup and Maybelline, and think Maybelline are going to stop doing that because it'll be bad for their business. It's not okay, and these things need to be like nipped in the bud. These brands need to come out and be like, no, we're still going to do it. If you don't want to shop with us, then you don't want to shop with us. That's you. You go and find somewhere else then. You go and find your favorite mascara somewhere else, because you're not going to get the same formula that you got with us that you love so much. It makes me very, very angry as a AFAB person who wears makeup, who has progressively got more and more worried about wearing makeup in public because of the dangers that it now comes with, more so than it did 10 years ago. Seeing stuff like this just really, really angers me. It's something that I'm like not here for whatsoever. Next, on a bit of a lighter note, but switching it up now, Prada is coming out of a new makeup line and skincare line. This is headed by Lindsay Alexander and a 3D artist called Inez Moraz. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering your name. So that's really merging technology and beauty together. Now we're seeing this kind of idea of AI and artistry and technology kind of creeping into makeup for a while now. That again, talking about Maybelline, the Maybelline ad with the mascara on the tube in the building, that was all AI, but that went wild online because people thought it was real. And even the marketing team of Maybelline have come out and said that like they didn't expect it to go that wild. So it's cool to see that like this idea of makeup and AI mixing together, but it's not just happening in the marketing now. It's actually happening in terms of product development and the formulas that we're seeing. So Prada being a globally acclaimed fashion house, we're seeing obviously a lot of other brands coming out with skincare and makeup. So this range is the host of a Skin First Technologies adapted by Adapt.gn smart technology, which is known to strengthen and renew skin's texture. IRL microfilter technology that diffuses light and enhances radiance, and Smart Tech Extras, which is a technology that ensures every product from lipstick to eyeshadows are breathable, blendable, and render lovely longevity. So this term, even using the term render, that's something you use in technology when you render digital assets and things like that. But we're seeing this kind of technology mixing in with our makeup and foundation to enhance it even further and enhance our skin. This I find incredibly interesting, incredibly cool, and I'm really interested to see what Prada is going to be doing, what they're going to be coming out with, and actually to get my hands on some of these textures and see what they're like and how this technology is really playing in with the makeup. It should be really interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's now our makeup news segment done for this podcast. Let's get into the conversation with Triple Minor. Yeah, so how are you? How are things?
Very well, very well. Busy, but very well.
Yeah, I mean, you've been doing like so many amazing things at the moment, right?
Yes, there's been a lot of things in the works that are just sort of like coming out now, which is fun. It just means that you're like sort of like on this emotional roller coaster where you're not sure half the time what you're doing and what you're not doing.
It's like that weird thing of slightly living in the past too, when these things that you've done months ago, sometimes even like a year ago, come out and you're like, oh wait, yeah, this is a thing.
Yes, that's it. And it's always very short notice as well. It's like 1 second you're not sure what's going on, the next second, yeah, it's all out. Like we're going live tomorrow, and you're like, okay. But that's how things work most of the time, social and TV and things like that. You just have to roll with the punches and just adapt quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Talking about like TV, you were in Unique Boutique, weren't you?
Yes, yes. We shot last year for the Unique Boutique, which is currently airing on Channel 4 at 11 p.m. on Mondays. It's a four-part series, and it was a really interesting experience.
Hey, how was it? How did you even find it?
So on two levels. So the actual work itself was challenging but very exciting because you're dealing with individuals. These people are letting you into their world, into their personal stories, and you have to sort of take what they have and deliver something exciting and fun and fashion forward and but also meet all their personal needs. So on that level, it was really, really exciting. But even more exciting was the people I got to work with. My co-hosts Victoria, Natalie, and David. We came as individuals, left as a little family, like a little fun queer family kind of thing, and it was just like a big boost. And on a personal note, it's like I went in as one person, and then I came out, having lived through others, being in a space where I didn't have to protect myself. I was protected. I could just be myself. So by the time I left and came back, I was like almost like a different person. My pronouns changed. My view on my gender was fully affirmed in a kind of interesting kind of way. It's like I left kind of being like non-binary, but very slightly, and then came back going, put the word tag trans on the front of that and just sort of like sit on it because in that space where I got up every morning and dressed how I wanted, went to work 2 seconds down the road how I wanted, and I was able to present and just be myself. Nobody was just, the name Triple Minor was more prevalent than what other people might have called me at home. It allowed me to kind of see myself in my most authentic form. So when I came back, I felt really, really like powerful.
Oh, that's amazing. It's kind of it's sad that like we have to go into those kind of situations where like we're in these like small bubbles to be able to really like kind of
Mhm.
almost find ourselves or find those kind of like those people and that stuff to really be able to like to flower and flourish. But it's amazing that like
Yes.
that actually happened.
Yeah, it's a shame that we have to pick a lot of the time as trans and non-binary people and or gender non-conforming people. We have to pick safety versus whatever else. Most of the time there's a lot of ourselves here and then safety on the other side. And sometimes you have to watch what you wear, what you say, how you behave, your mannerisms, your expressions versus your safety. Because if you're not in the right environment, then you can't flourish or do those things because you immediately feel unsafe or someone makes you feel unsafe. And it's a shame that we have to go through those things. Why can't we just be us, however we choose to be on that day? Because, Monday and Tuesday are two different people. However we choose to be that morning, that day, however we choose to present, just go about the business of being us and let everybody else go about the business of being them. And if you're too busy minding your own business, you won't care what I'm doing. That's what I say. I think a lot of the time people have too much time on their hands, or they're so scared of their own business that they make it their business to mind other people's business. And it's like, child, go mind your business. Anybody got time for you? Go about the business of wearing some red lipstick today, because that's all we feel like. Leave us alone.
Very much that out here minding your own business, you won't be worrying about my business. But on that kind of note, how has like the reception been to the show and you being on the show?
It's been amazing. So the show was created in a manner, and those of us who participated in it have found ourselves in this really interesting position where we acted and we were ourselves because we were not caring about what the world thought. In that safe space, we were able to just go about the business of being fabulous and go about the business of trying to create fabulousness for other people. And because of that, we were able to put forward something that made other people feel great, whether they were participating or now just watching on the TV. It was a judgment-free space. It was a space where everybody was celebrated for who they are. I remember when we were filming, there were times, not every time you got to see it, but there were times when people walked in that door and we would applaud them. And it hopefully made them feel great, because in that moment, all the things that they worry about when they walk into a boutique, a shop, a high street shop, whatever it is that their normal experiences are, taken away, because in that space, they didn't have to worry about it. They could tell us freely what they wanted, and so but by extension we could then give them back hopefully what they needed, if that makes any sense. They come in with wants, we give them a few needs, and the general public has seen it as for what it was. We were not patronizing. We tried, actually we didn't have to try, we just were people dealing with other people, and disability, non-disability limitations, whatever those are, we just didn't care. We just found a solution for the problem. And so hopefully it's a great taste in other people's mouths as well.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And you briefly mentioned there about like coming fabulous and making other people like feel fabulous. What is fabulousness to you?
Fabulousness starts with one word for me: peace. When I'm at peace with myself, I feel the most, and it doesn't matter whether the hair is long, short this day, whether the makeup is on or off that day, whether I'm just wearing a little dress and sitting in my living room with my dog or not. When I'm at peace, I feel the most fabulous. Sometimes people want to associate fabulous with a full look, a full face, a 6-inch heel. Sometimes, if you can take all of those elements that are just add-ons, life's add-ons, and still feel great in who you are and what you represent, you will feel fabulous 24/7. I am in a phase where I feel fabulous at least 20 hours a day. Why? Because, and 20 hours a day, I'll have all of it on. But in that moment, whether it's when I'm taking it off or putting it on or just being me, and it's very difficult because when you do social media, you go online and people they will try you. People will try you really, really badly. And they will say some things that you just want to like put your foot in their face and be like, bitch, I will. But you have to take that piece back and kind of go, that thought process is not mine. It shouldn't really affect me. That's the point of view. So I started this thing where when the negative comment is really harsh, I just laugh. And not just in myself, but I laugh at them on the comments. I put a million laughing emojis as a way to drown out the noise and bring back my peace, and then stay fabulous.
Definitely, I love that. I feel like, yeah, like you're saying, like all those kind of added elements, whether it be like makeup or your fashion or your like all that stuff, they're additions to the fabulousness and the peace that you should already be feeling. They can help you make you feel more fabulous, but actually where it should start is without all of that.
Yes, that's it. It's all an add-on. It's all, it's all drag, as they say, technically. It's all just a little extra form of more peace, more joy, more excitement. Am I going to beat a whole face this morning? Yes. Why? Because I feel fabulous. I feel great. I'm doing something that's exciting. I think it's fun. I've listened to the other episodes of the podcast. I love the general energy. So I just thought to myself, you know what? Bitter face, turn up. Whether the camera goes on or not, it doesn't matter. I will sit in the moment, in my peace, feel fabulous. And then therefore I can project an energy to those who will listen in the end of greatness and feeling fabulous generally. Yeah. Because if I feel great and I project that, then hopefully somebody else will listen and feel great for it.
Definitely, that energy is something that you feel for other people as well. A lot of the time, it's not about also a matter of being there, seeing it. It's like feeling it and feeling someone's really positive, good vibes and energy. It can really then inspire you, no matter how you receive that.
Yes, yeah. I think we need to learn in life to pay energy forward. A lot of the time you compare with good deeds and stuff. With what I do, I definitely try and put that out there all the time, because even if I'm having a really difficult day, and there's some days where you get up and you don't do this, as a social media person, there's some days where you don't even want to pick up your phone because maybe random XYZ profile said something that day your armor was not up as high as it should be, and it pierced a little bit through, and you're only human and you feel that little bit of wah wah, but then you remember Lisa being just anybody, said, oh, when I watch your videos or when I see your content or when I just see you, it brightens my day. It helps me feel a little bit better. Oh, I enjoy the inspiration. You then think, you know what, because of random XYZ, I'm not going to deprive Lisa of a smile. So I will find a reason to smile that day, and then by extension pass that smile on to Lisa, who by extension might pass it to somebody else, and butterfly effect.
Yeah, definitely. What got you started in creating like online content in beauty and fashion space?
I wanted to be the representation I never saw. I noticed very quickly when I started to explore my expression, not necessarily my gender per se, but my gender expression in itself. And I started to choose to wear dresses and things like that. I realized that, yes, there were a few people, but they were mainly in America, and it felt like on this side of the platform, there was not a lot of that representation of people who looked like me coming out there and just being like, here's a skirt, it doesn't matter. Here's a dress, it doesn't matter. Here's some heels, it doesn't matter. And if there were, it felt like they were very young, and it was almost acceptable that they could express. But when you're in that mid-age going towards your 40s, and we're a different generation, we're that last generation that had that really big barrier, amongst ourselves, our friends, our social circles, that big barrier was there. And so there's a lot of us who want to express, but we feel like we're a bit late because we don't want to feel like we're competing with the kids, the 20s and the 30s jumping in, the 20s and late teens jumping in the clubs, but we also have something to say. So I thought, rather than waiting for somebody else to say it, I'm going to just start creating and posting as my method of saying, I'm here, we are here, there's a lot of us who are out here. And it only progressed as we went. So I'm glad I did it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like you said, there isn't that much representation out there, like similar representation that you bring. And it's so amazing to see you living your bold, bright, fabulous full self on social media as well. And it doesn't feel like it's inauthentic or you're trying to keep up with trends or trying to be something you're not. It feels like you're just being yourself on like social media as well.
Yeah, this is a journey of self. I do it for me, so that's why in the beginning I kind of wanted to do it for everybody else. So, and then I realized if a video didn't do as well, I was a little bit upset. And then I was like, who are you doing this? So I do it for me. Whether that video gets 100 likes and gets one comment that somebody feels great about it, or it gets 100,000 or whatever it is. I've been at one end of the scale to the other. You know how the social media works. It doesn't bother me. They're all equally as important for me because on that day I was just being myself. I was giving to the world what I had to offer that day. Some days low energy, some days like vibrating at the highest points of where it could be. It doesn't matter. I am just being as authentic as I can be on that day in my mood. And if I'm not feeling it, there was a period of time where I was just like, okay, a little bit of dysphoria. I can't shoot fashion right now. I minimized it to just shooting makeup because I still felt great putting on my face every morning. It gave me a lovely sense of self. I didn't really feel like putting on 3 layers of garments because my body was going through a little bit of something and I was feeling a little bit of dysphoria. It was authentic and that's what I could deliver, and so that's all I delivered at the time.
Yeah, definitely. What makeup makes you feel like your most authentic self or your best self?
So very minimal, slightly glowy faces. So I've had a really interesting journey with makeup. A little bit of story time. I booked my first beauty-related campaign before I ever put a stitch of makeup on my face. When I booked that campaign on that day, Christy, bless her heart, did a full face of makeup, and it was the very first time. It was the end of September. It was hot. I used to corset my body at the time. I had a full Christmas party frock, and it was full length, and I was sweating this makeup off because my skin was not used to anything but moisturizer. Little did they know that was the very first time I'd ever worn any form of makeup. It was for Feel Unique, now Sephora UK. And it was a Christmas campaign that was all over the underground. It was really interesting because until that day, I had not put any stitch of makeup, and I never thought I needed any bit of makeup. I was expressing through fashion. But looking at myself that day when it was done, I thought there was a small part of me in here that I think could come out a little bit more if I had allowed, or if I allowed myself to wear makeup. Fortunately for me, they gave us a lovely goodie bag from Urban Decay, and it had a naked palette in it. And I took that home, and some lipstick and eyeliner or something, or mascara. And the next day, I thought, you know what? Let's try this. Like, smeared it thing all over my face in the worst way possible. I smeared it all over my face in the worst way possible. But I stood in the bathroom, the sun was on my skin, and I was glowing. And I thought, I've been missing something here.
I love that. I love that. Did the shoot come out all right in the end, though?
Yeah, which was really interesting because like I had to travel to come down because I'm not London. I came down to London specifically, and I walked into Houston, and I was going down to the tube in Houston. Okay, now this is sound crazy, but another black person, a black man specifically, turned around and said, "I know you. Your face is down around the corner." I'd not seen it. I just heard. I'd seen pictures of it. I'd not seen it in person. But for this black man to acknowledge me in a very fair approach to life, it was kind of like almost like a validation tap on the back. I ran down the escalator, turned the corner at Houston, and there was my face huge on this wall. And it was the most validating thing, and it was the most gratifying. It kind of just spurred me on to think there is a possibility for me to do this. I should stop being heavy on myself, thinking I'm too late in life to be taking this approach to life. Because generally, you go on socials, everybody's sort of like youth obsessed, and it's almost like people start calling auntie, like, oh, whose auntie is this? Somebody come and take their auntie, somebody come and take their uncle, when you're trying to be negative. They thought that was a negative thing. I adopted it because of my age. I have nieces and nephews. I am genuinely somebody's auntie and somebody's uncle, or so I adopted the term unctie, somebody halfway there and halfway there, because they thought it was an insult. But I thought, at my age, I have a 19-year-old niece. I am genuinely that. So you're not insulting me, you're just affirming me.
But also at the same time, you learn from those people, right? Like they're like aunties, uncles, parents are the people you learn from. Yes, you might say it's an insult. Actually, it's a term of, I'm here, I've got my life experience. I can now teach you how to do life.
How to be that fabulous, be as fabulous as us. People keep forgetting life is a progression. I learned from some of the most fabulous aunties and uncles. They were, your aunties and uncles, especially if they were younger than your parents, were probably closer to your age and gave you the opportunity to be, but they were the most fabulous people in your lives, because in those moments, they didn't have to be your parent. They were just this far away from being your friend, So for me to be somebody's auntie now, or somebody's uncle, or somebody's auntie, as I prefer to go by, it's the most amazing privilege for me. And when I come online and people see me as such, it is the most amazing privilege for me, because I have a world of people out there who see me, love me, care for me. I can extend love right back to them. And there are a few of them that I have taken under my wing and guide, and I will listen to them, and it's a privilege. It's not something to be snubbed at.
No, definitely. How did it feel like when you came up to Houston and saw that campaign, the image of it in big, like you're seeing yourself in that big way with all the makeup on and stuff?
Joy, pure joy. pure and unadulterated joy, because I was in a campaign of real people I had met, and they were lovely, sweet people. It wasn't like squawking models all over the place. We were real people, real bodies, real lives, real stories. And there we were on this massive billboard, and I was smiling, and I was wearing a glittery t-shirt for a dress, and or t-shirt dress, and I was sparkling, and I had no hair at the time. I wasn't wearing any kind of hair, and I had a little like a hairband that looked like a little crown, and there I was just glowing, and I felt amazing, and I hoped, and I remember standing there, and even though I didn't present the way I did on the campaign, I was just standing back on the wall, just looking at it. And these two kids were walking past, and they looked at it and they smiled, and they didn't have a negative reaction to it. And it was a most amazing feeling, you know. And I remember when I went to, because there was one of me as an individual, and I went on the central line to see it. And I asked this lady to take a picture, and then she put one to one and one on one together. And she's like, "Oh, that's you. That's amazing." The reaction was great. So when I got back on the train coming back to mundane middle England, I thought I left feeling inspired, not just because I was excited that my face was there, but because it was an opportunity that I could touch somebody else. Somebody else could see, ooh, sorry, I just really very emotional. But a little black kid who doesn't quite know who they are and where they're going, and they're 14 and life is confusing and they're not sure, could turn around and maybe see in me a little bit of something that sparks joy and happiness or a sense of self, so that they don't have to wait until they're in their mid 30s to start to figure out who they are. They could do it at 17 and 18 and spend more time being happy than being confused, you know?
Yeah, being that role model for someone else. Like you said, they don't know who you are or anything about you if they're seeing that campaign shoot, but just seeing themselves reflected in that sense and in that way. And like you said, seeing real people being reflected and stuff. Yeah, super inspiring. Hopefully, yeah, I'm inspire people to actually, yeah, this can be me now. Like I can do this.
Yes, that's it. And it's just I'm on a journey of sense of self, and I'm hoping that a lot of people take that from me, not just, oh, I love what you're wearing, but they can look at me as an individual and say, here's this person living their life in the best way possible. And hopefully it gives them, maybe not all the permission, because that's not my place, but some kind of permission to give themselves the opportunity to do something. It's not about always the journey of gender. It's just the journey of life, you know. By seeing somebody be themselves, hopefully you can be a little bit more yourself and a little bit less afraid of X or Y or Z, and just bite the bullet. You know, lots of people tell me all the time, oh, I enjoy watching you because it gives me that sense of, you know, I can go out and accomplish something as well. For all the reasons in the world, someone like me should not be successful at anything like this. But for all those same reasons, I am here and I'm pushing to be successful at something like this.
Really, definitely. Talking about like shoots and stuff, what do you prefer, doing your own makeup or having someone do your makeup for you?
I do my own makeup. I've only had my makeup done once on that campaign shoot. I do my own face. When I shot the Unique Boutique, there was a makeup artist, but I shot my own face. I did my own face every week. We had a break on the weekends. I would come home, gather a couple of bits, try out a couple of things really quickly, because obviously you're waking up at stupid o'clock in the morning. You have to be on set at 7. There is no time to do an elaborate, 17-layer face. You know, you have to put on something that gives you the quickest face possible. So I've learned to do my own makeup in a manner that I think I explain it to people as such. It's like, yes, one drag artist can paint another drag artist, but they will probably never get that face as right as the person who paints their own face. You know your face. And this has been a journey of self, which includes finding my own face. I don't do lots of steps in makeup that have become mainstream and standard, only because I decided for me that I don't need them. I don't wear concealer because at the moment I feel like I don't need it. It's not a necessary step. I should be able to pull out this face, which I did. I started at half 2 and we're now doing this at just gone 2 o'clock. 20 minutes, I should be able to pull out a face that makes me feel like me and go about my day. There are other days where I want to pull out a glam concept, maybe for the fashion shoot I'm doing, and I will take 2 hours, maybe not 2 hours, an hour maybe, and I would take my time listening to music and sipping on a drink, like a cup of tea or something, and I would take lots of time to do it. But I wanted to learn to pull out a face that when I look at the mirror, I see me in as short a time as possible with as minimal products as possible, because I don't want it to become something that I rely on to see me or feel like me. I should feel like me when I roll out of bed. I should feel like me when I use 5 products, a little bit of, eyeliner, a little mascara, something on my lip, a little bit of blush and highlighter, and go. I should feel great in those 5 products as well as I should when I take my time to put 17 different little detailed faces, together. Makeup can seem very, very drastic when you don't know how to break the rules per se. I'm fortunate that just by choice, I'd been watching people like Jackie Aina for years, more for the shits and giggles. Like, I love her. I just love the sense of humor. But I think as part of the process of watching somebody else build their face, you learn what you can and cannot do, and you learn what you should and should not do. Makeup at the moment, for me, I have a problem with it because it's so, so Eurocentric. You buy a palette, and in that palette, on my skin tone, I could use 2 or 3 really good tone shades, especially when it comes to matte shades. I could use 2 or 3 really good shades, maybe 2 or 3 I can make work. So you buy a 15 palette, a palette with 15 pans, and you can only use less than half of it. Very frustrating. Shouldn't be the case. Things should be pigmented enough to work on everybody. I know not every color will work on everybody, but generally, if I'm not using 10, then that's a waste of money in the 15 pan palette. So I've learned some of the rules. I've taken the time to study, and then I've removed from the process things that I think at this stage in my life, I don't need them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to conceal. Like, you see, the fact that everybody does it doesn't mean that you have to do it. You have to tailor your makeup to your face. I used to not want to use bronzer because I thought, I'm dark enough, I will highlight and then let the natural skin tone bronze. But then I've just recently thought, you know what? Give it a chance. I bought a bronzer from Fenty, and I just a little bit on the top. It just balances the shine and the glow on the top versus the mateness and the darkness on the side. I'm experimenting and I'm learning as I go.
But I think that's one of my favorite things about makeup is makeup should be like for you. So like doing the bits that you want to be doing, or what bits of makeup or techniques that make you feel great. You don't have to do everything that everyone's doing. You don't need to do that full beat or that X, Y, and Z. Like, you just take the makeup should be tailored to you and how you want to present, right?
That's it. And that's one of the things that I learned, and I'm trying to I'm only now starting to post a lot more makeup on my platforms, because I went on YouTube Shorts, and then I posted one makeup and it held, and now on YouTube Shorts I exclusively show the face I'm wearing every day. But what I'm trying to push when I show these like 5 products, 5 minute face, it's not to say, oh, I'm that good at makeup, because I'm not. I'm not a professional. I'm just an individual who's finding their face, and as part of them finding themselves, and as part of that, makeup has become part of it. All I'm trying to show people is the fact that the guru did 17 layers of whatever doesn't mean you need 17 layers of whatever to feel great about yourself. You can literally put a little bit of gloss, a little bit of highlight, a little bit of this or that, and go. You can pick and choose. Like, I have colors that I wear exclusively from the fact that I just want a little bit of a hint of light on my eyes. I don't need you to see that I'm wearing makeup when I'm running down to Asda to pick up some chicken, but I do feel like I need to just, and a little bit of, just a little bit of this here and a little bit of that there. Nobody else needs to even see it. I do it for me because I feel good about it. So I think people need to, yes, learn by following the people who know the theory and the rules. I'm using that with the inverted commas for the people who are listening, because there really are no real rules. But learn the theories, the reasonings behind why things are done, and how the people who understand it better than you do it. And then when you've learned that, then I think you can then start to dissect, break it apart, look at it a little bit more in depth, and then pick and choose the ones that really work for you, your lifestyle, your approach to things, and then you can focus on those rather than doing all these things that in the end probably don't even work for you.
Yeah, definitely. I love that, like, yeah, picking and choosing the little bits you want. But as we're coming towards the end of the episode, there's one question that I like to ask everyone is, what was the first piece of makeup that you bought? Obviously, I know you said earlier you got that goodie bag from Urban Decay at your first shoot, but what's the first piece of makeup that you bought yourself that you kind of like hold close?
Right. Okay. So it's another palette. Okay, I'll give you two. It's another palette from Urban Decay. At the time, they just come out with the Naked Cyber palette. I'd seen it on these makeup artists that had worked with me, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. And it was like 40 something quid at the time. I was like super broke. I was like, I saved up, and I bought that from Feel Unique at the time, now Sephora. And it came, and I remember not all of them worked for me, but they had a base shade, like a base matte shade, and it was this orangey red color. And I remember putting it on my eyes and thinking, this is amazing. I was like so excited. But on a personal note, the first time I bought a Pat McGrath blush, I think it was a Fenty lip luminizer. These were products that were formulated with people like me in mind, and the best of ways, you know. And yes, people can question what they want to question, but I took Pat McGrath Divine Fetish blush, and I remember dipping my brush in there and going tap tap tap, and I thought, I'm sold. I'm now gonna know that I'm never gonna eat again.
Love it. Yeah, feel you. Yes, I mean, yeah, Fenty and Pat McGrath are like one that they changed the game when they started coming out with their own makeup anyway, in terms of like just their inclusivity. But the fact that like it took a brand like Fenty coming on so late in the game for the makeup industry to really be like, oh wait, this is actually what a diverse color range looks like, and X, Y, Z. Like,
range supposed to be like. Yeah. I wanted to wear foundation, and at the time, I remember going and buying MAC and the Studio Fix fluid thing, and I bought the liquid, and it was just so tough. There is a difference between here and here, and it was just like difficult to match myself, and that has a good range. And then I remember going in and then using the thing at Boots to do the Fenty, you know what I am. And even I didn't listen to it. It told me to buy something lighter, and I bought something darker because I was like, wait, this is not going to match my face properly. But it was that flexibility where I can wear 3 shades of Fenty, but a lot of other products, I can't even find 1 shade. I can wear a Paragraph bronzer. There are a lot of products from other brands that I can't even find. Like if I put that bronzer near me, it's like, ashy baby, ashy, this is not even going to show up on your skin. Those people are actually like pushing the boundaries per se.
Yeah, definitely. And there shouldn't be boundaries that need to be pushed anyway, but they still are apparently.
Yep, that's the one.
Well, so just before we get cut off, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and thank you so much for chatting.
My pleasure.
Now, that's all we have time for this week. I had such a great time talking to Triple Minor in that episode. They are fabulous. I mean, please do check out their show on Channel 4. It's on 4 on demand, or whatever that's called now online. I know that's a whole conversation that's being had, but they are such a cool and lovely human being. Also, make sure to follow them on social media. Instagram account is Triple Minor. So yeah, make sure to give them a follow, like their content, engage with the content there. They do create some amazing looks, and both in fashion and in makeup. They're an incredible human being. And a reminder to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review. It really helps us out. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Turning Lewks Pod for behind the scenes content, ways for you to get involved, and to know when the next episode is coming out before anyone else. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye for now.